Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our Monday update recorded on the 28th of April. Let's get into the forecast. We've got high pressure somewhat to the south. Low pressure though is dominating to the north, and there are actually two areas of low pressure here merging together. We talked about this last week, being a bit of a messy system to the north, but this week it does get better organised, and that just means sort of a better shape to it, more likely to have a bit of wind, and the rain gets a little easier to forecast where it's most likely to be. Some rain clouds still around, some heavy around the top of the country at the moment, Bay of Plenty eastwards, and we're still seeing some showers coming into the top of New Zealand as well. Still got that instability hanging around, and a bit of high cloud here in the South Island coming over the Southern Alps as those west to northwest winds blow through, and there is a bit of a cooler change coming for some of you in the south. So let's have a look at the situation here on Monday PM. You can see that high to the south and the southerly flow, bringing in slightly cooler airflow to some areas today. Other end of the country, it's a subtropical airflow, so the two are meeting in the middle. Could be a little bit of wet weather around the South Island due to that. But mostly, we are seeing low pressure to the north here merging together over the next day or so. And as we see high pressure, a big one coming out of Australia, moving on through, that's going to make for another windier easterly area and some wet weather going as far down as Canterbury by the looks of it. So here is the departure from normal, brought to you by resupply.co.nz. Red is drier than average for this time of the year, blue is wetter than usual, and white is normal. So we are seeing that line of rain here around the South Island coming in as an easterly for the most part. Canterbury could be affected by that. But if the high just expands a wee bit in the south or the low gets a little stronger, that rain might move a little bit further down towards Otago, or it might be pushed up further around Marlborough and Wairarapa. So it's one of those areas that could still move around a little bit, coming in with easterlies. Elsewhere around the North Island, showers. Some may still be heavy over the next few days ahead, but longer and larger dry spells in the mix as well. So not as many places seeing a wetter than usual week ahead. Here is noon Tuesday. So we've got that wet weather stuck around the South Island through the middle here. May not be very much. Northeasterly winds coming through. And the further up the country you go, the more noticeable those northeasterlies will be. Here on Tuesday, these two lows basically are merging into one. And with high pressure out to the east of the country and down here near the Chatham Islands, means those northeasterly winds will be a little brisk and exposed marine areas in particular. Rainfall-wise, nothing too huge on Tuesday for most places. But there is still the chance of a slow-moving downpour that bubbles up and produces heavier rain than is forecast. By Wednesday, you can see the low's still got kind of two centers to it. Looks a little bit like a PlayStation controller. So left and right-hand side of it, low pressure, right-hand side of it, more low pressure. We have got a tropical northerly coming down, being fed in as an easterly around the North Island, and for the South Island, with the high pressure out here around Tasmania, up come the colder airflow with that, also merging with it as an east to northeasterly. So you've got basically nor'east winds all the way from the lower South Island to the top of the South Island, but warmer airflows are likely in the northern half, and the cooler airflows are in the southern half. The North Island's got easterly winds in the southern half, lighter winds for those of you in the top, and that might produce a few afternoon downpours, maybe some thunderstorms on Wednesday afternoon and evening. Now on Thursday, the low deepens properly off the coast of Wairarapa between the low exiting the country and the very big high coming into Bass Strait here in Australia, which stretches all the way down to the south of New Zealand. That's a squash zone between low pressure and building high pressure. So windy southeasters coming on through for Canterbury northwards up to Cook Strait. Wellington will have a gale force southerly probably, and Wairarapa are also caught up into that. Windier conditions may then go through Cook Strait, curve around and come into the far north or Northland, maybe even Auckland as well as the day goes on. So a bit of a messy day on Thursday. Heaviest rain looks to be Canterbury, Marlborough, lower part of the North Island, lightest rainfall at the top of both of the main islands. Now as we go to Friday, the low gets pulled out to the east, big stretched shape here from west of the Chatham Islands to southeast of the area. And you've still got a bit of a squash zone here, but it's turning from an easterly to a southerly as the high goes out to the east. Sorry, the low goes out to the east, the high goes out to the west. Between the two, southerly wind squash zone coming into the lower North Island here, and also southerly squash zone in the Tasman Sea. That's going to be bringing in cooler airflow for Australia. But not a lot of drama here on Friday. Around central New Zealand, highest chance of heavy rain warning and a wind warning as that comes on through, but high pressure is stretching out into the South Island. Things are calming down there. And while the North Island's unsettled on Friday, it is more settled on Saturday. as all of that stuff moves out to the east. Low pressure basically from East Cape over the Chatham Islands and all the way down here towards the Southern Ocean, 955 hectopascals, low air pressure. Big strong high though coming in from the west here. That is going to bring in some settled weather once it arrives. Not so much on Saturday for everyone, although you will start to see clearer skies on the North Island. But by Sunday, certainly that high rolling on in, bringing us lighter winds, calmer conditions, and just a couple of lingering showers in the northeast of the North Island, maybe up around Northland. Otherwise, it looks dry and settled. Just finally, that's an enormous area of high pressure, stretching all the way up towards Darwin, all the way down to the Southern Ocean, all the way out east of the country, and all the way out to Western Australia. So a huge Australia-sized area of high pressure coming on through as we come in towards this weekend, the first weekend of May. And that's all from me. I'll see you again tomorrow, Tuesday, with our next New Zealand update.